As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur.
And good afternoon and welcome to the Business Zone. I am Crystal Mitchell and my co-host Gilbert is on his way in. And so happy New Year. We're the second week in the month and so excited to be here. So excited to be here and happy to have you with us. So welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And Gilbert is on the phone. So Gilbert, are you coming in?
I'm still trying.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone has had their first week has been amazing. Mine has been quite busy, and January came in with a bang, which to me sets the stage for what the rest of the year is going to look like. So I'm going to have to figure out how to manage it so it doesn't take me by storm. But hopefully yours is going pretty well as well. So we had a guest today, Mr. Micah, Logan, but we had some conflicts, so he won't be here today, but he will be here next week. So our topic is going to be slightly different today. We're going, since it's January 10th, or no, 12th, we're going to talk about what you need to be doing for your year in closing out 2023 and moving forward for 2024. So we're excited about that and looking forward to sharing that with you. Some of you are probably already on tap and already ready. You closed out your year already, and but some of you have not, and some of you need some direction on what that looks like. But in order for us to have a successful new year, business-wise, we have to close out the old year and pretty much just kind of start all over again, right? Especially when it comes to generating our 2024 revenue. So, looking forward to doing that. Gilbert, are you still there?
Yeah, it's telling me to wait 10 minutes because the account is locked.
Okie dokie. Yeah.
I'm like,
okay, so while you're waiting 10 minutes, let me just send you an invite link and then you'll come in like a guest. It'll be a little bit different, but let me do that for you so you can come in as well. Hold on one second. Let me get you the link. And, no, not here. Close that one over here. So, are you guys ready for this new year? All right, Gilbert, I'm sending this to you now. Okay, so excited. I'm excited. I got some things that I had pre-planned and was ready for. The one thing that's for me that I found that I'm much more active and more people are inviting me to events than the previous year. So that's kind of new for me. It requires a lot of dress up. And so I went to this past weekend, this week, the president of the Los Angeles Urban League, Ambassador Michael A. Lawson, he retired. So we went to his farewell congratulatory salon or event, and it was a lot of fun. So he's moving on to his next I guess endeavors. I would imagine he's going to rest because the last 6 years have been quite busy for him. So I know, but it was very nice. Got to see all the who's who in Los Angeles, and so that was pretty cool. And then I did a couple of workshops and classes, and so here it is, Friday. It zoomed by really quick. Gilbert, did you get the link?
Yeah, I got the link, and I'm just setting up my background right now.
Okay, all righty. So Gilbert will be in a second or two, and then we'll be ready to get going. So Today, like I said, we're going to talk about year-end um, a checklist. It's 20 steps to preparing you for the new year. Now, most of us should have been doing this last month, or towards October. So Gilbert is here now. So Gilbert, you did. Let's see, come in as a guest. So let's see.
I'm a guest today. I'm your guest for today.
Okay. Not quite sure why you had trouble this week,
I
but
have no
okay.
idea, man. I have no idea.
So, how was your week?
Oh man, this week, what happened this week? I had so many things going on. Uh, I think this week was a little easier week than ever. I was working on my mentor protege program, writing the materials for it. So that
Okay.
was pretty good. So we got that done for the prime that I'm working with. So now that we've got that out of the way, we're all ready to roll, man. So can't wait to get the ball rolling so we can start this program. We're anticipating about 30 DBEs in that program, and
Mm.
then we'll be coaching them throughout the project. Once it's awarded, it will be about for 5 years. So we're really going to help these small disadvantaged businesses get their piece of the pie.
No, that's good. So important, especially now. I think it's more important than ever that we create or increase our capacity, I guess,
Yeah,
to making sure that we can grow our businesses, we can achieve and increase our revenue gains. Because no matter what's going on in this world politically,
hmm,
bottom line is you have to be able to live as a capitalistic country and
yeah,
world. And so without money, it just doesn't work. I'm just sorry.
that's
Okay,
right,
what
that's
field
right.
you in, where you are, here in this country, you require funds to make it work.
Yeah.
And you need, and it just baffles me that some people find themselves having to run their own business and work a second job when it's just the opportunities to make money is so much greater with your own job, having your own business, than it is working for somebody
And that's why our topic today, which is taking care of your year-end items in order to prepare for the new year. That's why that's going to be so critical, because preparing to be a protege on a mentor protege program, you have a checklist of items also that you have to have in place to make sure that partnership between the mentor and the protege really works. So we're going to be covering quite a bit of those items on the show today. And that's going to really help some of our viewers and listeners as to what they need to have in place moving forward for 2024.
For sure. This is my area. My first 4 months of this year is of any year, pretty much is the fact that I'm working with small businesses to make sure that they have that year in those year-end items in place, closing out their books, reconciling their bank statements and things like that, so that they can then produce accurate uh, financial reports, and not just for taxes, but also for forecasting and budgeting for the new year. So it's really important. So I spent most of where I wasn't having meetings and trainings this week. Pretty much all of my conversations this week was all about this topic right here.
Oh,
I think
so so
I
you
met
were
with.
already in motion on this.
I'm already in motion. I think I had 7 or 8 coaching clients this week, and this was the topic for each and every one of them. Where are we
Yeah.
going, and what we need to do? What are the steps to closing out and getting ready for the new year?
Yeah,
Um,
and small businesses need to keep this at the top of their mind, not just at the beginning of the year, but throughout the whole year. Am I following my checklist? Am I covering all the items that needs to be covered within my milestone plan. They need to do that because that's the only way you can stay on task. You can keep things accomplished and keep on going and know whether or not you have achieved your milestone and can move forward.
For sure. And then there's just some things that are very mandatory. So we have some due dates coming up very rapidly, and so everyone should be in the mode. If you are a small business and you utilize contractors in 2023, there's your 1099s need to be done by the 30. You need to get the report or the 1099 to those vendors and by January 31st. And so everybody should be in that mode right now, making sure. So next week, everybody I'm doing is that's what I'm doing next week to make sure. And if you had employees, then uh, all of the payroll companies are working to generate and produce the W-2. So that's part of the checklist, making sure all the numbers are accurate and have been reconciled. So those are two of the most important things. Your 1099 W-3 record a report is due on February 1st. So
So they're supposed to, since it's due on February 1st, they should have this thing done by say January 22nd and
yeah.
be ready to send it off, right?
Uh-huh. And so that's what everybody should be doing right now. And if you had an accounting system, that would be pretty simple. But before you could even get to that, you have to reconcile your bank statements for December 31st. So that's what everybody should be working on. So by the end of the month, you have that. If you have accessibility, as long as it's mailed out by the 31st of January, you're good to go. But
Yeah.
that's when it needs to be done, and then you have to turn around and send your report to the federal government. And then the same thing with payroll. So everybody should be getting their W-2s by the end of the month.
Hmm.
And if you're in Los Angeles County, Los Angeles City, that city tax is going to be due what February 28th.
February 28th. Yeah.
So that's February 28th. So again, that's why you're reconciling and compiling so that you can find out what your financial numbers, your net profits and gross profits were for 2023. Um, and there's a huge penalty that with the one with the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. The penalty is at least $300, at least.
right.
And that means if you generate revenues under 100,000, but you did not file on time, that penalty, that's a late fee of $300. If you generate more than 100,000 and you did not file, then it will definitely be a lot more than $300.
Right. So if it's delinquent after the 29th
On the
of
29th,
February,
yeah.
and
Do we
even
have a
with
leap year this year or no?
we do.
We do?
Yeah, we do. Well,
Okay.
there's a February 29th, and even if there is no taxes due, you must file a renewal. So you
Mhm.
should have gotten your card in the mail so that you can go ahead and do what you got to do for the city of Los Angeles. And then some of the other city and municipalities also have their requirements. So these are the things that have to be done in the first month of of the new year, and then as we go along, there's some other each month up until April 9th, 15th. I don't know what the date. I don't know how the 15th lands this year. The
Mhm.
last couple of years, we've gotten a reprieval where taxes were extended by the government.
Yeah.
But I don't know unless we have some major storms, national disasters, or state disasters. Pretty much tax day will be April 15th.
Yeah.
But unless who knows? Last year you got some gifts from the state of California. And you got some gifts from the federal government. So I believe it was extended to October 19th
Yeah,
last year. And then there
yeah,
was another extension that came right behind that in November because I don't know what had happened, but I
yeah.
guess people weren't ready. So they were forgiving. But the notices I'm getting now from from the IRS, they ain't quite so forgiving this year. They are they are intense right now from all the messaging I'm getting.
So see, a lot of people, the ones who waited late and take the extension, now they only have 6 months to file. So that's going to be a challenge right there.
Right. So yeah, so the IRS has been they're quite busy. I think they're stepping up their audits this year. Although I did read a couple of notifications that populated into my feed that they've gotten quite a few. Let me see. The IRS, this came in today. The IRS has collected $360 million from the rich tax cheats as its funding is threatened once again. So they're at least going after the rich people,
Oh
not as
Lord.
much after the poor people.
The question is though, are they going to collect? Because they talk the talk, but do they do the walk? You
Well,
know.
actually, this report said they collected 360 million from overdue taxes from delinquent millionaires um, for this so far. So they already collected it.
Yeah.
hmm So
Interesting.
and said along with 122 million collected from delinquent millionaires last October, that now nearly $500 million in back taxes from the rich cheats have been recouped. So that's good. So the poor are not taking care of the rich at the present moment. So that's a good thing they do. That's what's supposed to happen, right? Got to balance this stuff out.
Yeah, gotta balance it out, man. Gotta balance it out. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope they don't come our way.
Right, exactly. So, well, there's a whole lot of probably a whole lot more money to be collected from the rich than it is from us, the poor people. I will say that. So, those just are some of the things. So, we're going to get ready to kick it off to talk about what the checklist is, so that you guys um, can start pulling it together. Um, some of you may have to change over and change your tax person. A couple of tips for you when you go get your taxes done this year. If you have aspirations or goals where you need to increase you want to apply for capital, uh, a really good idea, especially because the last couple of years we're still adjusting from the pandemic, and so there's been some changes and some delays. So it's really, really important, guys, that when you go get your taxes done, if you do need to apply for um, capital for your business in 2024, well, you want to make sure you have that conversation with your CPA or your tax preparer, that you do have those goals so that they can make sure that your taxes are done with that goal in mind. Because if you go to your tax person and tell them, hey, I don't want to pay any taxes, they're going to do exactly that. They're going to make sure that you don't pay any taxes. But when you go to that lender, he's going to say, hey, you didn't make enough money in order to qualify for this loan. So I'm not
catch,
telling you
it's a
what
catch
you've done.
22, man.
I just know that those two things don't sync up.
No, they don't. They don't.
Right. So, um, very important conversation to have if that's the case. I mean, there are a lot of people who have they don't even know why they've been denied because they just assume that they just did their taxes and they turned in their 3 year the requirement of their 3 year tax returns, and so they're still just mesmerized why they got turned down, and
Yeah.
and that could be one of the reasons why. you were turned down because you it didn't appear, it truly didn't appear like you made any money.
I tell you, man, it's
So what can
crazy.
you say, right?
Yeah. Hey,
All right.
Neil, welcome to the business zone. She said, I was denied for a business loan for this exact reason.
See?
That's what we're talking about. We don't, folks, we don't want you to tell your tax preparer, hey, man, just file my report and say I don't make that much money. Because when they do, they're going to do exactly what you tell them. But that's not good for you, because if you've been in business for more than 3 years, you should be showing some profit. You know, if you're in year 5, 6, 7, and you're still showing a loss, that's the big red flag to the IRS to say, hey, come audit me. I'm doing some unscrupulous stuff over here. Come on.
Right, because if you're taking a loss, obviously you're going to get more deduction. That's a deduction, and that's a benefit for you. That's fine if it is the actuality.
Yeah,
But bottom line, and they could be true losses.
yeah,
But bottom line, know that when a bank is or an investor is looking at providing you with a loan, they want to make here's the thing: the banks are in business to. This is their business model.
yeah.
That's how they generate revenue, right? Through interest payments back from the loans that they provide you. That is their source of revenue. I've got to get with Crystal. That's their source of revenue, right? So
Yeah,
when you so now when they look at your financials, your bank statements, and your financial reports, that lets them know that you can repay a loan. And so if the bank statements and your financials indicate that after your expenses that you don't have enough to pay their loan, then they're not going to give you a loan because
that's true.
they already know that it's a setup for failure and a default on the loan, and that's not why they're in business. So
Yeah.
that's just basic mathematics, I guess. If the math not mathing, then it's a problem for the banks.
if the math is not mathing. Oh Lord, that must be some bankers who come up with that term, man.
Right,
The
exactly.
math is not mathing.
If the math is not mathing, then they're not going to give you the funding.
Oh man, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, we're laughing about the small businesses, but I want you to know and understand that, we're here as an advocate for you, and we're trying to get you guys on the right side of things so you have less hurdles and less barriers to go over. But this is serious, man. You really got to listen to the things we're saying here, because it will prevent you from doing unnecessary things. These bankers, we talk to them all the time, and they tell us what they see, what they're looking for, what they want, what they don't want. And that's why we're conveying it to you. So please, take these tips that we're giving you. And, one of these days, we're going to have to do a show on the business ratios so I can go in and show you guys what your ratios should look like. There's at least 7 different ratios that banks look at when they're trying to give you a loan or a line of credit. So, I like to go over that with you guys so you get the inside scoop. Because when you first walk into that bank, they're sizing you up. They're sizing you up. They're going, okay, let's see what this person wants. No, you want a loan, huh? Okay, loan. So we're going to ask you the basic questions. Do you have your financials? Do you have your balance sheet, your profit and loss? Once they hear that, they know, this business is not ready.
And the other thing, though, Gilbert, as well, the bank may not be the only place that you go to for a loan. You play the CDFIs, the community-based investment entities. They're not as stringent as
Yeah,
the bank,
right.
and so that may be of benefit to you as well.
Yeah,
But I will say this, and I tell this to my clients all the time. know the bank that you're working with. If you're depositing your money into their bank account, then you want to make sure that when that time comes, that you can acquire a loan or funding from them, capital from them. But that's a conversation you have to have with them before you go to them to apply for a loan.
Yeah.
You have to let them know, one, what your goals are, and everyone should establish a relationship with the bank that they're doing business with. And then once you establish that relationship, if it comes down to the fact that that bank is not going to cannot provide you with what you need in order to grow your business or help you with your business, then that may not be the bank, in my opinion, that you need to have your money in. That's what I say. A bank is part of the team.
Exactly.
And the team should be on your side.
Yeah. That's exactly what I say.
Right. And then there's some grants out there, some new things and I know I've already started getting notifications, being able to apply for a crowdfunding as well as a pitch competition.
Yeah.
If you know your stuff, you should be able to go and do a pitch competition. I just sent over to a number of my clients just this morning. I sent over a competition for $250,000 pitch competition that's going to take place.
$250,000.
$250,000.
Man, I could apply for that.
You want to apply for that?
Yeah. How long you got to be in business for, and what should your status be?
It doesn't. Well, I have to send over I can send it up. I can provide it for you. You can go in. It just says looking for. Let me pull it up real quick. I just sent it over.
If I can apply for that and win that, then maybe I can help to prepare some of these small businesses and get them ready the right way, man. That would be a good injection of funds.
Yeah, that would be a good investment. Okay, let me get the details, because I just sent it to a number of my clients.
Because then I can prepare some of these businesses the way I want to prepare them, not like some of these organizations who tell you, yeah, I want you to get these businesses ready, but then they give you restrictions, Well, don't force them to do certain things. Well, how are you going to get them ready if you can't force them to do the right thing?
Exactly. So it is a visionary pitch competition open to diverse founders and entrepreneurs nationwide. The competition is going to take place May 2nd. Grand prize is $250,000. Taking applications now, and the deadline is January 31st. The participants will be minority owned, 51%, for-profit businesses, at least 1 year in operation. So I think you qualify, Gilbert.
Well, I'm going to have to jump out there, man. I've been teaching these guys how to do their elevator pitch for the longest time, and they haven't been paying attention. So I'm going to have to go in there with some technique and style and show them how to do this thing, man.
Okay, so I will send you over the link, and you too can apply because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. So been in business for at least 1 year. And so some of my clients majority of my clients that I've been coaching last year that met that status.
So this will be a win-win situation for those small businesses, because if I win, and they're going to benefit, because I'll be able to help them to really get ready.
So they're gonna be competing with their coach, huh?
Yeah. they'll be competing with their coach with themselves. That's what's gonna be happening.
No, I will send it over to you. Niall, I may have sent it to you, but maybe not. But I'll look.
Neil said to send her the link too.
Yeah, I thought I sent it to her this morning, but if you haven't gotten it, it may be in your what's the name? Your what's it, a spam file. But if not, then I will send it over to you later on today. But
I can't see the chat. Is Fernando in here?
Fernando's not here yet.
Is our street consultant? Is he
no,
here?
just Niall is here, and Niall is going to be our guest next week. So I'm excited.
So she's checking out the landscape to make sure she got it right.
Right, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so exciting. All right, so let's get down to the financial year.
Well, let's talk about to our audience first about how to subscribe and how to log into.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, how to connect, and because we want them not to miss any opportunities, any upcoming opportunities. So we need to get their subscription in here, free subscription, not just a subscription, free subscription.
All righty, guys. So what we're asking you to do to go over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and we're asking you to hit that subscribe button. And if you and take a look at some of the previous shows we have probably an archive over 700 and something shows. Everything from every aspect of doing business, how you should be doing business. There's a number of class and sessions, as well as we've interviewed some amazing small business owners and other entities that have brought some very valuable information to the small business community. So we ask you to hit that subscribe button. You also can take a picture of the QR code right here, and it will do the same thing for you. So we're wanting to grow our numbers. This year is the year we're going to monetize the Business Zone, and so we need your help to do so. So please make that effort to go over there. If you enjoy what we're talking about, if we're clients of ours, we definitely know that you've benefited from us.
Yeah, that's true.
So and going over there to support us.
We can also be found, guys, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube Live. So Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live. Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live, guys. So some of you, I see you're logging in today from YouTube. And there are a few ninja watchers on Facebook right now. They don't want to show their names or show themselves, but we know they're watching secretly. But make sure if you have questions, guys, you put it in the chat so that we can address those questions for you and help you with some solutions to your business.
Sounds fantastic. All righty, guys. So let's go over the checklist. So the first thing we want to do, and I'm going to actually put the checklist. I'm going to create save it and create a link so I can put it in the chat so you too can follow us with it. But it's very, very important that we, okay, let me see if it can get me a link. I'll get it before we leave.
Do you want to go over the list of items first that we're going to cover today? So
yeah.
They have an idea, and those who are listening or watching could say, "Oh yeah, that one entices me." Reconciling my accounts. Yeah.
Yeah. First thing first, the checklist should comprise of you running your financial reports for 2023 and making sure that you've completed your year-end, or your bookkeeper or your CPA has completed your year-end work. So some of that's going to start taking place as of January, in the next couple weeks, the next 10 days or so before the end of the month. As I said, because there are certain there are certain documents that are due, but once all that is done, is at the end of the year is really a great time to access where your business stands financially and what's your current financial situation compared to your previous years. So if you have an accounting system, that's pretty easy to do. You can run a report. If you're using QuickBooks or Wave or any other software, you just run a comparison report and see if you increased your revenue and possibly decreased your expenses, or it could be the other way around. Your expenses increased and therefore your revenue decreased. But you need to know that. So you want to run a report, your profit and loss statement. That's pretty critical to crucial to understanding your profits, your how your money came in, and the sources and the number of products and services and that you sold, and then the expenses, the cost of goods the cost of doing business, and then at the end of the report, you'll get your net profit, which is let you know what the what's your financial situation. So hopefully you have enough money at the end of the year that can take you through the first 2 months. Because for me, my I have to always make sure that there's enough money um, to cover all of my expenses, because your December invoices or accounts receivables usually are not received until the end of the month in January. So that's usually my situation. I don't know about everybody else's, but January and February are usually pretty tight for me.
Okay, so let's just run down these real quickly. Just just read the title so folks know what's here. So that was number one. Number one was run standard financial reports. Number two is analyze cash flow statements, guys. And the third one, co-host, what's the third one?
The third one is verify your vendor information, because you're going to be sending out your 1099. So you want to make sure, one, you have you actually received the W-9 for them with their correct address and email, and so that you can mail out that report to them.
Okay. And then number four will be reconcile your accounts receivable. So that's number four. Number five, co-host.
Number five is double check payroll,
Mm-hmm.
and your
And
payroll and the
benefits.
benefits and the sick time and all of those things, so that they are reconciled.
Mm-hmm. Number six is know what forms to file. If you don't know what forms to file, Crystal will tell you a little later. Number seven.
Number seven is to gather your tax documents.
And
So
number
making sure.
eight.
Mm-hmm.
Number eight is implement your tax saving strategies. And again, Crystal will go over that later for you. Number nine.
Number nine is request filing extensions if you know you're going to need that.
It's amazing how many of my clients file extension every year. Number 10, think about year-end incentives.
Right, exactly.
What's
Number
number 11?
11, examine your staffing needs.
And number 12, celebrate business accomplishments.
Mm-hmm. Very important. Number 13, update your business goals.
Yep. And number 14, audit your website.
Right. And I do believe there's some, and we'll talk about that in a minute. There's some new requirements that is necessary to make sure your websites are ADA compliant now.
Yeah.
15, count and value your inventory system.
Yep. And number 16, review marketing efforts.
Right. Number 17, back up your computers.
Mm-hmm. Number 18, back up your contacts.
Number 19, download important reports, files and reports.
And number 20, evaluate file naming convention. So we'll go over all 20 of these today, just so you guys understand. This is a checklist right here, guys. Checklist of items that you need to be checking out right now. So which one do you want to start off with, Coles? Number one?
Well, I kind of did number one on the standard report. So that's your profit and loss statements, your balance sheets.
Uh-huh.
And it's a good idea at this point in time, before you start to file your taxes, once you've done that, to have a conversation with either the bookkeeper to better understand those reports, or your CPA, as well, so that you guys can have a strategy for the upcoming year.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So, with the second item would be to analyze your cash flow statements. Now, for those of you who've been in business for 1 year or more, you should be familiar with what a statement of cash flow is. It said cash flow statement, but that's the same as a statement of cash flow. So, a statement of cash flow is like a combination of your balance sheet and your P&L. Combination of your balance sheet and your P&L, your profit and loss statement. So that will tell you who you owe, who owes you, what money is coming into the business, what money is going out, and what's your obligations. So, and it will let you know where you have money and if you don't have money. so
Exactly.
this is an amazing statement that if you don't know how to do one, just reach out to my co-host Crystal. She will definitely show you how to do that. That's her specialty. That's the type of thing she does. So I just want to go over this right here. It says a cash flow statement records how your business spent money throughout the year. Cash inflows equate to income, and cash outflows are business expenses. I'm going to repeat that. Cash inflows, that means money coming into the business. Anything coming into the business in terms of revenue or sources of funds, that's called income or inflows. And if the money is going out, it's called outflows, or it's an expense. So keep that in mind, guys. If you don't remember anything else today, remember that. Income, inflow. Outcome, outflows.
Outflow. Right. And there are three cash flow flows, and that's your operating expenses. So this is basically your revenues and your expenses. Investing activities, and this is your assets purchased and assets sold, if that's the way you need funds, and sometimes that's just the way it happens. And as well as financial activities, which will be loans and loan repayments and lines of credit and things like that. So those are the three ways cash flows. So if you really want to learn how, hey, Fernando, if you really want to know how to really operate and to understand your cash flow, on January 31st in the 6 o'clock in the evening, I will be doing a workshop with Vermont Slauson. So you can check their calendar of events, and you should be signing up for that class, because I'm going to give you some real details on how to manage your cash flow, what happens when cash flow gets out of line and why it gets out of line. So, and there are various reasons for that. So put that on your calendar, January 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a free class with Vermont Slauson Economic Development Group. So you can go to their website, which is WVSCDC.org, and sign up for that free class that will give you that valuable information.
Yes.
All righty.
Definitely. So number 3 on the list, co-host, that's verifying vendor information.
Exactly. This is also a time, and this, if you work in a corporate environment, their accounting departments are quite busy at this time, because that's what they're doing. They're verifying vendors. A lot of times we do business, especially as small business owners, we might contract out some work. Anytime we're paying anyone over the amount of $600, so that would be $601, we then have to send a 1099 to
a W9
to them for them to fill out. But then at the end of that time frame, you're going to be sending out, you're going to be providing them with a 1099.
Yeah.
That's their obligation to submit for do their year-end taxes, and report their revenue. That's your responsibility to make sure that you're reporting that, and it's a deduction for you. It's an actual deductible item, but you want to make sure that you purge inactive vendors and inaccurate information and things like that. So good time to do it at the year end.
And I just want to add this, folks. Co-host just mentioned that in order to verify vendor information, part of what you want to do is to complete and upload or store a Form W-9. So you're going to complete it, you're going to sign it, and you're going to upload it into your storage system, whether you use SmallBizPro or you use another system. You know, one of the things I recommend is that the first thing you do the beginning of the year is to go to the site and download a brand new Form W-9. It's a one-page document. It will come up 6 pages, but all you need is a first page. So you fill that out, you sign it, put your signature on it, and you put the date. Put this year's date on it. So if somebody's considering doing business with you, they're definitely going to ask you to submit that form. So instead of you waiting to submit it when they request it, just have it in a ready position. And when they call on you, you know, if you're using SmallBizPro and you're out there in the field doing some work, or you're at a doctor's appointment, or you're somewhere else and they ask you for it, all you got to do is just log into our app, you know, and just access the form. And in 6 seconds or less, you can send that form, that Form W-9, to your vendor, and to your contract provider, and they will just process, you know, your transaction so you can get paid quickly. So that's something I want all of you guys to think about. You know, on your checklist, you should have Form W-9 should be completed, signed, and uploaded and stored in my system, in my record keeping system.
All righty. And for those of you that are interested in navigating finances for small business owners or small business owners, that's the link right there to go over to Vermont Slauson. It'll take you to their website and you can sign up for the class.
And
Free
what
of
date?
class.
What date is that class
The
again,
date is
co-host?
January 31st.
Okay, January 31st, the last day of the month, guys. You want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you get in there and get into that class. You'll be dealing with my co-host. She'll be very nice to you. So just get in there and do your thing.
In fact, there's a whole lot of classes I'm teaching for them next year. This year. So right behind that on July 7th, I'm going to be talking about business credit. But the first one is to understand navigating through your finances. So I'm going to cover quite a bit of stuff there, getting you ready for tax season. Next one is accounts receivable. So this is really important, guys. Being able to manage the invoices, your unpaid invoices, because your unpaid invoices are actually uh, that's part of your cash flow. So if you're not staying on top of your unpaid invoices, making sure that you have a system that like QuickBooks that will automatically if your nets are 30 days, then on day 31, it's going to send a notification to your customer to let them know that their payment is now overdue. So you want to make sure of that. So there's some insights that are done by QuickBooks um, Small Business Insights, and they say on an average $32,000 in unpaid invoices is the standard for most businesses. Well, $32,000 is a lot of money in running your business. So you want to make sure you calculate and understand your accounts receivable turnover ratio, so you know exactly how long it takes to get your money, and make sure you stay on top of collecting your accounts receivable. So that's how your cash comes in.
So, folks, accounts receivable is the money that your customers owe you. All right. You did a transaction, you didn't get paid on the spot. They decide to pay you over a period of time. So, everything that they have not paid you, that's accounts receivable. That's money coming in, money that you're supposed to receive. That's why it's called receivable. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I want you to look at it. You know, don't get confused because you look at a financial statement, you're seeing assets, liability, you see receivables and payables. You know, all you got to do is just understand it. Like if you stick both your arms out like a plane or like a bird, the left side, that's going to be your assets, and the right side is going to be your liabilities. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, you cannot afford, as a small business owner, you cannot afford to have customers owing you money for too long. So 30 days is a maximum you should go without being paid that money that's outstanding to you. So once you get to that 30-day marker, you invoice them, they have not paid you, then you need to put a system. And in my company, I write a policy. I write a policy on accounts payable, accounts receivable, and all of those things, right? And that policy is, if a customer has not paid me within the time frame, when I invoice them, payment to be made within 10 days. That's what I do, because I'm professional services. If you provide products or other services, maybe you go 30 days. Or if you're dealing with a government entity, 30 days. But when you send your invoice, you want to state specifically by the deadline of your payment. So if it's in 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, you do that. So anything beyond the deadline, you should add penalties on that. You should add penalties, because penalties are designed to discourage late payers. So you put penalties on that, let them know there's a fee for you not paying on time. Just like the city of Los Angeles is going to charge you at least $300 for you to renew your business license this year. If you do not pay, if you do not renew it on time, then that's what they're going to charge. They're going to charge you $300 for being late. Same thing here with your receivable. You got to put some rules in place to your customers so you don't start accumulating bad customers or late pay or slow pay. That's going to mess up your money. Just so you know, the average small business owner who's been in business for, say, 1 to 5 years, they make about $6 to $9 grand a year. And if I want to give you a range, it would be between $6 to $9 to $74,000 a year. That's what the salary is of a business owner. So that $32,000 that my co-host just said, according to QuickBooks, is being delayed or not paid to small businesses. That 32 grand can mess you up, because if you have employees, you got to pay those employees. If you don't have employees, now you got to make your 69 grand a year or your 74 grand a year. That's 32 grand coming out of that 6 to 9. How are you going to take care of your family? So keep that in mind, guys. So I just wanted to go on an extra limb to say that to you.
An extra limb.
Extra limb.
True that. And that's part of that cash flow. So again, I'll be talking about that in detail on January 31st on how to manage that. But one of the biggest pieces of that is managing and having a good control of your account receivables. I actually take it as a personal insult, man.
Me too. Me too.
If that tells me either you didn't like my services, you're not satisfied with my services,
or they don't respect you enough,
and you don't respect my services. So that's what that tells me when I don't get paid on time. I go extra.
When you don't pay me on time, I take it as a personal insult, and I'm coming after you. I'm doing my late fees, I'm doing my penalty, and another thing I want to throw out there, guys. Another thing, just so you know how important this is. When you don't collect your money from customers, it goes on your financial statements as what they call age accounts. Okay, accounts payable aging or accounts receivable aging. When anything over 30 days, anything that's not paid over 30 days is called an aging account. So most of the time you go to a bank looking for a loan or a line of credit, they say, give me your financial statements. I want to see your balance sheet, your profit and loss. They want to see if you have aging account. That means that you have accounts that you're not collecting your money on. You have receivables out there that people owe you for over 6 months or more than that. Anything over 30 days, it's a 30-day aging. Anything over 60 days, 60-day aging. 90 days, 90-day aging. And the higher the number, is the more they look at you as a loser. So keep that in mind. If somebody owes you for 4 months, 120 days, and you haven't collected, they're going, this person, man, this person's a loser, not giving you a loan or a line of credit, because that means you're not going to collect your money and pay us back.
Exactly. So yeah, we take it. Most consultants, most in business owners that are 1090, I mean, are invoicing. Yeah, it's an affront, man. So just know that's how we feel about it.
Yeah.
Number 5 is double checking your payroll and benefits. So those of you that have employees, generally, yeah, I don't recommend anyone doing, if especially if you have employees that are being paid on a weekly, biweekly, um, every other biweekly or monthly a pay structure. You have an account. You have a payroll company do that, because the state of California is pro employee, and so you want to make sure that you never get behind on paying your payroll taxes. And so the best way to do that is to have a payroll company. The 3 most reputable payroll companies is, everyone knows about ADP. Um, QuickBooks has a
Paychecks.
payroll system, and if you're using QuickBooks accounting system, it really uh, works seamlessly well with that software, with the accounting software. So you have to, it's a separate setup fee and a separate setup, and you do that with the representatives from QuickBooks. I think right now they even give you a bundle deal if you have the QuickBooks software and you're running payroll. So it's best to have them do that, because they will maintain and make sure that your taxable fringe benefits are taken care of appropriately, and they will send you reports as to how those deductions were taking place, if there's any subsidies or reimbursements or health insurance or life insurance. They will make sure that you stay on top of things. The one entity you do not want to bring attention to you is the EDD. They're just like brutal, man. You
Once,
don't even want them to, other than the fact that you have a number with them and you paying payroll. That's all you want them to know about you. You don't want them to come after you because you
you
have
don't want them
delinquent.
to know you intimately.
No, you do not want to be intimately known by EDD. So trust me, they're worse than the IRS.
Once they
Um,
know your first name, woo wee.
they don't play when it comes to that. So, so generally, you have a third party company that is taking care of that for you. But you do want to review the reports, um, so that you totally understand what the deductions were. You do want to make sure that you reconcile the amount that in on your financial reports is the exact same amount of payroll that you pay to your employees. So that is number 5.
And I also, folks, I just want to add this to what my co-host just said. So for double checking your payroll and your benefits, if you don't know if certain things can be put on your tax return and give you a benefit and advantage, just, I want you to make a note of these things that we're saying right here. So for example, the taxable fringe benefits, you may not know what that is. You may not know what's taxable. So make a note, ask your tax preparer about, hey, what about taxable fringe benefits? What are those? Tell me about those. Do I qualify? You want to ask those questions. Third party sick pay, you want to know about that too. If there's sick pay that is supposed to be documented or allocated to you or any of your employees, ask the tax preparer about that. Company car, if you got one. I got my company car and I haven't been taking all the tax benefits I should be taking on it, until recently. I'm going, dang, I missed like 6 years of not getting my real money, you know? So keep those things in mind, guys. Anything, educational reimbursement, health, life insurance, transportation subsidies, ask them all of that. If your company has a mortgage on a building or anything like that, you want to ask them too, as a tax preparer, how do I account for this mortgage right here? Because usually a mortgage company will give you a form. I think it's called 1098. You use that form, you submit it to your tax preparer. You know what I do, co-host? Every time, but just before I go to my tax preparer, I make a list of all the documents. So not only do I have my 1099s that I get from my contract providers, right? But I also have a list of documents like the mortgage document, the 1098 for mortgages, anything from health, from Cover California. They send you I think it's a 1098 or 1095 they send you. So those are documents you make a list of that, and you take that to your tax preparer. Mortgage interest. If there's mortgage interest, you get certain a report on that. And if you have student loans, you also want to take the end of year statement on that. Take it to your tax preparer. I usually have a list of about 12 or 15 documents that I take into my tax preparer. I also, I'm a little bit more advanced than many other small businesses. So I also do my P&L and my balance sheet, and I take it into my tax preparer too. So it makes it so much easier for him to go in and just look at stuff and just do the numbers. When I sit there with my tax preparer, he can do my tax. He can complete my taxes in like 30 to 40 minutes, man.
Yeah, if you have if you provide them with a P&L, your balance sheet and your general ledger, that's all they require. And they don't need to have any boxes or anything unless, like you said, your 1099 reports. You don't need to. Yeah, you don't need to have any of that. You can actually even, your 1099 report. So all of those reports, just give them 4 documents, and that's it. They're done. I have a client that generally she went to her client, her tax person, her CPA, with this whole box of stuff. And every year first of all, he filed an extension like immediately, and then the second thing was he just would have this grimace on his face. So this year, she went to him because I helped her set up her account in an accounting system, and she emailed him over her financial reports, and he went, "What happened? What happened?" So again, he was able. Of course, his fee dropped down drastically. And then and he had it finished in a very timely manner, and so he was just shocked. So so she's ready. She'll be ready again before April. In fact, she was ready last year before all the extensions. So that's what you need to know.
Yeah, man.
So
go ahead.
So number 6 is the forms, and we kind of were talking about this, the forms that you'll need to file. And again, I will go into extensive conversation on January 31st about all the filings and the time frames and things like that. So what forms do you need to take with you? You'll have your Schedule C if you're sole proprietor, and you're going to file that together with your 1040. If you are an S Corp, you're going to have your Schedule K1, and this is if you're an S Corp or you are a partnership owner. You'll have your 1099 NECs. This is the new form that is required to report your non-employee compensation. If you're receiving rental income of gross proceeds, it's going to be your 1099 miscellaneous MISC. And if you're reporting income, if you're a C Corp, you're going to be filing your 1120. And then if you are receiving card payments and third-party network transactions, is your 1099K. So let me tell you about that 1099K and what they mean. So those of you that have been insisting on using transactions for business, such as Cash App, Venmo,
they hit me with that all the time.
Those entities, the IRS feels that they're not getting not getting all of the reporting of income. That's why I always say use professional PayPal. You're using a merchant system through either your accounting system or you actually set up with a merchant, and keep your those cash payment apps under $600, which is usually what happens when you're sending money back and forth to friends, right?
Yeah.
When you start sending money to people over the abundance, like
Yeah.
your things like that, then
Yeah.
it starts to, so the IRS feels that they're not collecting all of their money. So be real careful. You're a business owner. You should have professional um, systems. Stripe. These are all business tools that is usually associated with collecting, making it accessibly easy for your clients. I use QuickBooks for my payments, and yeah, I have to pay a fee, but that's a tax deductible item. So that fee
Co-host,
is
I think you've been too nice to the audience, man. Tell them no Zelle. We're not using no damn Zelle. Zelle and the other one. What's the other one?
Zelle, Venmo, and Cash
Yeah,
App.
yeah, none of those guys. Come on. You're a business owner. That's not a professional platform to use. Let other people use it who are not business owners. If you're an entrepreneur, just remember, and another thing that I learned about those platforms, those Cash App and Pay App or whatever, they're easy to breach. Easy. So people breach them and go into your bank account. They get information out of it. They take money. I'm not trying to promote PayPal or anything like that, but I noticed PayPal has been very secure for me. Anything that goes down, I'm protected, because if somebody taps into my account and they take money out of it, then PayPal will give me back my money. And I like that. But the
That's
other
why
ones, they're not doing that.
they have high encryptions.
Yes.
They, again, if somebody does breach your account,
Yeah.
they will send the money back to you and investigate later.
Yeah.
Whereas those others, you can accidentally um, transpose a name or an email, or find you have a duplicate email, and you'll send money to some complete stranger because they have
Yeah.
the same name. It's
Yeah.
just not, it's not a safe way to send money as a business owner.
No.
And they've been breached. So Venmo was breached during the November December time frame.
Yeah.
I think Zelle actually
Zelle has been breached before too.
they've been breached, and they didn't get money. People didn't
Right.
get their money. The deposits wasn't recorded. And
Right.
so no, PayPal, or use your accounting system and use the merchant system that's attached to that. If you're using QuickBooks, they actually have a payment merchant account that you can set up, and your money comes through you. You don't even have, if you do the 3-day ACH, you don't even have to pay a fee. So
Right.
if you don't need your money, like instantaneously, then do the ACH. But you know that there is a system that's backed up, and there's encryption and security, whereas the others, there is not. So, and one of them, Venmo, or one of them, I just hate the fact that I don't know who that is because I don't really use those systems, but they you can see who sent money to who. It's nobody's business who
So
I'm sending money
anybody
to.
can see that in the public, huh?
Right, exactly.
See, I don't like that, man. I like my privacy.
That's your privacy. So
Yeah.
anyway, but as business owners, that's who you want to make sure you have the appropriate, and if you're paying a merchant fee, that's okay, because that's the tax. That's the price of doing business.
Yeah.
Now, unless they're gonna give you checks and you're gonna, mail your checks, which again slows up your payment process.
Yeah.
You can still do that. Accepting checks is fine. But if you're going to have them send it to you online, wiring, but there's a fee for wiring. But if you have a merchant system set up, so again, QuickBooks, pay any of those systems. I think Wave has a payment system, and they use something like a version of a Stripe. But a Stripe, when you set those things up in PayPal, there's a lot of security behind those. So just letting you know that
I love my money too much, man, to see it leave my bank account and I don't know who's taking it out of there.
Right. Or that somebody send you money through somebody else and you don't get it.
Right.
Because it went to somebody else. So the next one is gather your tax
So
documents.
that's
So
number 7.
that's number 7. So
Okay.
make sure you gather your all your information, your tax ID number, and really, if you're doing business, you should not be doing business under your Social Security number.
Nope.
So January 1st, new year, apply for an EIN number and separate yourself from your personal. Have separate bank accounts, personal bank accounts from your business things. Just let's start the new year off right. No cominga link.
That's what
Um,
I'm talking about.
right. You're gonna need your Social Security number. You're gonna need previous tax returns. You need bank account, and credit card statements. Your accounting journals and ledgers, financial statements, invoices in some cases, receipts for business expenses. But generally, if you have an accounting system, you can just do a report, and that should be enough for them unless there's some questions. And then your employee and non-employee tax forms, which we've already spoken about. Okay.
There is a statement, all right, underneath this co-host that I think the listeners and viewers should really pay attention to, and it says, "Plan ahead of time to find these documents, gather employee tax forms, and keep all documentation stored in one place, stored in your Small Biz Pro account, guys, your Small Biz Pro
Ah.
platform." Okay. Keep it stored in one place to make it easier to file your taxes. My tax preparer, he has access to my Small Biz Pro account because I gave him a user access to those key documents. And just
Mm-hmm.
remember this, guys, that when you give someone else access to these documents, you select what documents they can look at. They can't see everything in there, only what you want them to see. So that's what I do with my tax preparer. I said, okay, I'll give you an account, username, and password. Here are the documents I want you to look at. So my 1098, my 1099, any type of income that I generate, you'll have access to that. Expenses, travel, mileage, all of that. He has access to that. So you guys should be doing that too. And before you go to your tax preparer, don't just show up and say, "Oh man, I forgot these receipts, or I forgot um, my registration for my vehicle." Because you got to bring that in too. Because your tax preparer want to see the mileage. How you're doing, the mileage that you're using. They also want to see how much you paid last year for your registration, because it's supposed to go down every year. So that's another thing you put on your taxes. I put that on my tax preparer asked me for that. I give it to them.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
And generally for my clients, I do a P&L for the current year, and then I do a comparison, um, a report as well. Then they can
Yeah.
take that to their tax person, and it'll show how what if there's been any reductions in their tax, um, or any reduction in the tax deductions. So here's the thing. This, I guess, from 8 on, this is stuff that you really should have did the year before, and then for this year or for the end of last year, really looking at strategies for the current year. So, but if you want to reduce your tax bill, you want to make sure you're doing your tax deductions and making sure you understand what is a deductible item and what credits you are eligible for before the tax season, so that they can lower your tax bill. Hopefully, those of you that are making over $1,000, or if you've had to pay more than $1,000 at the end of for your tax payment, then you actually are doing set up you have set up your quarterly tax deposit, so that way that will reduce your tax liability at the end of the year, how much you have to owe. It's by law that if you had to pay more than $1,000, even with all of your deductions, then your tax person should be have highly recommended that you do a quarter tax deposits. But generally, some of your general deductions for business expenses, it's just your general stuff, your legal services, advertising, rent and insurance, salaries and benefits. If you're just starting up your business, startup expenses are tax deductible. If you're doing some improvements to the physical building, those are deductible. Since the remote work, since we've been working remote, there's some tax benefits there. So you really should speak with your tax person to find out what other deductions you would be eligible for, because there has been some updates and changes far in regards to tax deductions for those that are working remotely, where their home has also a certain position, a place in their home has become the office. So you do want to talk to your tax person about that.
Okay. So number 9 is request filing extensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're requesting a tax filing extension, but it'd be good for you to go through your tax preparer so they can do it for you. As a business owner, they're gonna fill out the form 7004. It's called Form 7004, which will give you a 6-month extension. Now, you don't want to just willy-nilly decide to do extensions like that. You want to think about the extension first, right? If I file this extension, that means I'm not going to file my taxes now. That means I'm going to be late. So I'm going to be charged a late fee. And there's another fee they charge, a penalty. They charge you a penalty fee and a late fee when you file that extension. So please don't believe that because you file the extension, the IRS is not going to charge you extra money. Yeah, they're charging. They want their money. They're loan sharks. So they're going to make sure they charge you for you being late. Yeah, you should have been on time. Oh, I'm going to charge you for this. And there'll be a penalty too. So they charge you for that. If you got to make payment arrangements, the same thing. You got to call the IRS, talk to them, set up an account. And then let's say you owe $10,000 and you want to split that up over 2 years, then they'll set it up for you. But you cannot miss any payments, because you miss any payments, then it take you back to zero where you belong, where you started. And on the pay, even though you have a payment plan, they're still going to charge you late fees and penalties to that. So you guys need to know those things. Don't just jump and do something. You got to plan. When you're talking about money in your business, you got to manage that business, that money wisely. Here's another thing that you want to think about when you're filing an extension. If you are a minority-owned business, a disadvantage-owned business, a veteran-owned business, a woman-owned business, and you need to certify your business, if you're going to apply for certification during the year that you should be filing your taxes, they are going, and let's say you did an extension, they're going to ask you for a copy of this Form 7004. They want to see a copy of that. They want to see that it was filed and it was signed by your tax preparer. Now, your tax preparer is going to file this digitally, so there'll be a digital footprint of this on the system to show that you can include in your certification application to Metro, the city, the county, or the state of California, whichever agency you're sending your certification to. But because they're going to ask you to show them 2 or 3 year tax returns, right? So you may show them the year before last, you may show them the year before that, but then last year you have an extension. So you got to show them proof that you did file an extension. They're not going to take your word of mouth that, hey, I did an extension. No. They're going to say, show me proof you did. So this is just to help you guys so you don't have to hit those unnecessary hurdles. All right.
Exactly. And so some of the other the extension is really important, but then check with your tax preparer professional, whoever is doing that for you, and do that with them, and they can better instruct you as to how you make sure that you're in compliance when you do file that extension. So very important. Also review whether or not, and this probably should take place for the next year, but I've had a lot of clients that were not happy with their tax person. And so I usually when someone asks me for a recommendation, and this is a suggestion that I make to all bodies, that again, your tax person, your CPA, they're all part of your team, and
Yeah.
so you want to make sure that they understand your business, your goals, what you need, your potential staffing needs for the future, and they're on the same page as you. So you really should do a get. I usually do 3 referrals, and then I suggest that you before tax season, because this first quarter they ain't having no conversation with you. This usually has to take place from June until December, and then you make sure that you all are in line, and then you choose after you've interviewed them to make sure you guys understand what your needs are, and then you make a choice for that. But don't try to do that in the first quarter while they're working up to tax season. They will have no time. Also, another thing to remember that if you're changing over your tax person and you decide to do this in the first half of the year, understand that they have an established client list, and that established client list is probably going to get first come, first serve, whoever's making the appointment. So don't go in with the anticipation that, my coach referred you, and so therefore you need to drop everything and take care of me. That is not how that works. So be respectful of and understand the time frame that you're dealing with. Tax professionals are overwhelmed from January to April 29th.
Yeah, that's true.
April 30th. They are overwhelmed. They usually take a break in May,
Some of
and
them
then they,
even go beyond that. Some of them go all the way to June.
yeah,
'Cause-
and I have some referrals that are year round, but these are the time frames when they're filing, and but they're filing going on all year round. But
yeah,
the intensified part of their business is in the first 4 months of the year. So
yeah.
I've referred some people, and then they got upset that this person didn't respond to me immediately. So now I've had to add that disclaimer. Well, understand it's tax season, so
Yeah.
that's why I don't do taxes, because folks get really crazy. I, and I do. I am done by March 31st. So if you're looking for me to help you, better make sure it's done by March 31st, because I'm not doing the crazy stuff in April.
That's
It's
when a
just not
lot of people get cranky, man.
right, because the deadline is soon. So so
So
that's
which
some
one
of
are
it.
you on? Which one are you on? Are you on
We're
9?
on. We're probably not gonna be able to cover all of them because we're just gonna go to 4:30 today.
Okay.
But we year-end incentives, and again, I think
Go
everything
ahead.
from
Go ahead and cover those HR resources too,
right.
because if they have employees, they want to cover that.
Yeah, the HR piece, but the staffing piece is these incentives really should be have been recognized, and you should have already addressed it by the end of the previous year.
Yeah.
The reason why is because the December 31st is the deadline and the cutoff for any deductions from these incentives. So if you're doing a year-end incentive, you're looking at, you can't really look at your staffing needs until you've completed your year-end work. But you can, if you're going to recognize any outstanding performers or anything of that nature, share in profit sharing of your business accomplishments. You want to
Yeah.
do that by the 31st, especially if it's monetary, because that's
Yeah.
when you get the benefit, right? So if they're not going to get paid to January, if you're going to do that, then that's going to be applied to the 2024. It's kind of like doing your Roth IRA and your IRA contributions. You have to do that by the end of the year for the of that tax season. So
And
that's what
and
these HR.
and if they're going to give money to their workers, their employees as incentives at the end of the year, or if they've already done so, they should have spoken to their tax preparer first before they do that, because you want to know how it's going to be classified on the tax form. You know where it's going to go and how it's going to be classified. So you don't want to You don't want to spring it on it. Oh yeah, by the way, I gave my workers some Christmas bonuses in cash, and I just want to claim that now. Because he or she needs to know ahead of time, you know, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, so that they can position you for success on those
Right,
filings.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
So we
so
did
here
10 today.
we did 10
So
today.
we'll do the other 10 next week. Well, hopefully, we have enough time next week to do it. But I think this is good, though. This checklist, 10 checklists of items, guys, this is really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, and I will put the checklist in the description on our YouTube channel,
Hmm.
and so you can go over there. The link will be there, and you can click it, and then you can actually have a physical checklist to go
Yeah.
over. If you were not writing it down, but I will make sure you have that available to you. Uh, so being prepared is an ounce of prevention, and it keeps you from paying. Here's the unpreparedness costs you money, and being prepared usually saves you money.
That
So,
is true.
um,
That is
uh,
true.
Niall says, I got a lot of work to do based on this list. Right, exactly. But Niall, next year we're going to make sure you already ready by January, girl, because this is the stuff that usually we make sure all along year round we're getting ready for that. But
Yes.
we want you to be ready. We don't want you to pay unnecessary amounts of money in taxes. That money could be reinvested back into your business for growth, for staffing needs, for new equipment needs, for new product line, which is all then very tax deductible. So we want to make sure that you're ready and it's beneficial to you. Okay. So hopefully you guys, we didn't have our guest today, but no worries. He will be with us we will have him here on February 2nd. So that's the first Friday in February. But next week, so Niall has been in the chat today. You guys want to come back and hear us talk to Niall. She is going to be our guest next week. I'm excited. Um, Let me
Yeah,
tell you,
Niall is a phenomenal woman, guys. You're gonna need to hear what she has to offer. She has a business. She has a resource center for Black women to help their business. She's in the tech world also, so she can help you with your back office. She helps you with your systems, your cybersecurity, all of that stuff. So she's gonna be a phenomenal guest next week.
yeah. So you guys want to come back? Her company is called was it Avercom Virtual Solutions, and we actually definitely want to recognize Black women and men that are in the tech industry because people are always saying that we're not, and that is not true. So you'll get to know her, you get to know how she does business, and find out quite a bit about her company. I believe she's a major advocate for women in business, and she's a strategic analyst. So come on back, guys, next Friday, and check her out on LinkedIn. But come back here, and then the Friday after that, which is be the last Friday, and it's just so amazing that we will have been finished with January when we just got started. We have Robin Billups from the Billups Consulting Group. Well, Robin, for any of you that know Robin, she's phenomenal. She's a good friend of mine. She also is a co-host with me on another platform, but she is in the procurement supplier diversity space, the DEI space, and she was a former banker, so she has a lot of information on in that area as well. So you want to stay tuned. So for the next 3 weeks, we have some phenomenal guests. Go over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button so you get notification every time we go on air, and like and subscribe to us. And so our YouTube channel is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And
And before we close out on the show, guys, I wanna say this very amazing phrase to you guys. So you can think about this when you run your business, when you interface with your clients, when you're thinking about beating the competition. And this is a saying that is generated, authored by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He's a poet. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He's a poet. So he says, the height of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. Okay? I'm going to repeat it. The heights of great men and women reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but while their companions slept, they were toiling throughout the night. So keep this in mind. When you're thinking of putting in an extra hour of work to outperform your competitor, this is the kind of thing you want to think about, because that's what great men have done, and that's why they achieve excellence over the years, over their career, and for the people. All right? So I just want to put this out there, guys, and I'll be saying this until you guys get it and understand it. That's my saying for today.
That's your word for the week. I like that.
That's my word for my motivating word for the week.
Your quote for the week. All right, guys. So which is good. You have to have goals, you have to have visions, you have to have inspiration and motivation so that you can be the best entrepreneur, the best business owner that you could potentially be. If not, why do this stuff, right?
That's right.
Yeah, why do this stuff? So we want to thank everyone for joining us. We're going to sign off now and see you guys next Friday at the same time.
So
same 3 o'clock afternoon.
Outro?
Huh?
You're going to hit the outro?
I am. That's right, because you are the guest today.
Yeah, I'm the guest today.
So here we go. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay warm wherever you are, because it's cold all across, even here in Los Angeles. Across the country and here in Los Angeles. So we will see you guys next Friday. Same bat channel, same time. See you guys. Right. Bye-bye.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.